famous Lullaby by Johannes Brahms, we have a very peaceful, tranquil feeling or character that goes throughout the entire piece. The first stage of learning any piece is when we teach our students to play with accuracy in 4 areas: notes, fingering, rhythm, and articulations. Whether you teach an entire piece in 1 week, or if you only have the student look at half of the piece, that is totally up to you and how much you think your student can learn. But when we think about accuracy in those 4 areas, how can we get our students to really play well in the lesson while we practice with them so that they are ready for 6 days of productive practicing at home? So let's go ahead and let's always play the melody first with this beautiful piece because it's such a famous melody. So we could play it, we could have the students listen to the recording, and we could have the students sing along with it. So there could be some snags, right? We could have the student who is not so comfortable with playing and counting dotted quarter rhythms. But you know, I really think when you're used to succeeding at the piano, you don't have any issue at all. So have the student go ahead and count it while they count the 8th note in between beats 2 and 3. But have them count that 8th note very quietly like this. I'll go ahead and count the pickups into measure 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2. And then go ahead and just count it and clap it so that your student is really watching you. 3 and 1, 2, 3. Have them clap it back. 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2. Many, many times until they're bored with it. They really know the rhythm. And then you can play it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. So I might actually have the student play that phrase first. They can go 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, and then get rid of those little ands. 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2. Or else their musical line will always suffer for it and it will always sound metronomic instead of beautifully phrased. All right, so that's the idea of the rhythm. You might have to talk about some of the fingering in the right hand so that the student knows exactly what they're supposed to do all week when they're practicing at home. And definitely have them do this in the lesson. Oh, I changed my fingering. Oh, it always has to be the same. Oh, that's it. And you know, you can always start with physical gestures. So I should say you can always start a piece by using physical gestures as well. So we can teach our students to drop and roll and then drop onto the D and then slide towards the wood of the piano and then drop to the bottom of the keys. So drop, roll, and then they drop to the D, slide towards the wood of the piano. Lots of kids will want to pick up their 4th finger, right? So have them listen. Oh, do you hear it connecting to the high note? Oh, yes, I hear that. Good. So the four skills that we want our students to really focus on in that first stage of learning the piece is notes, fingering, rhythm, and articulations. So articulations, this whole piece is legato, so they don't have to think about any kind of staccato. So then in the left hand, the very first week of study, I think I would have them just block the tonic and the dominant 7th chords. So we could say half the week, go ahead and play it hands apart, and then in the middle of the week, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, hopefully that's enough for many students. It's just half the piece. And then you'll be ready for the next week where they will have all those skills perfectly learned so that you can go on to the next stage of learning the piece and then start the second 2 lines on the first stage of learning a piece. I find that if I tell my students what those 4 stages of learning a piece are, then they understand the goals that are ahead of them. And they really make sure that they're trying to be as accurate as possible throughout the week in notes, fingering, rhythm, and articulations. And the practice strategies at the beginning, they ask, in the right hand, find and circle the 2 octaves, and then in the left hand, find and circle the 7th, the melodic 7th. So, some nice ways for us to teach that lovely piece by Brahms to our students.